dynamic between the three of us was exactly the same as it was 30 years ago.
It's been nearly 30 years since we've seen the Sanderson sisters. Because of Bette Midler's yearly persistence, the cult popularity, regardless of the initial box office numbers, and iconic song and dance numbers, we get a sequel to this brilliant Halloween classic.
So my experience was it was a great success.
Number 1. The best part about being a witch.
Find something, anything, we must fly! Anything.
Even in the original movie, the flying aspect was the actor's favorite part. Kathy Najimy said in Hocus Pocus 2 that she had the most fun flying on her cleaning supplies. She thinks they didn't do enough of it.
They were the only broomies left!
Sarah Jessica Parker loved being in the air so much, she'd actually stay up there between takes.
Maybe they'd go to lunch or, change the lens, and I would just stay up there.
She even had a way of keeping herself busy.
I could fit an entire New York Times up the back of the corset.
She would just sit up there and read the Times as she waited for her next take. Number 2. We're joined by 3 new witches.
These women are so talented.
Bette Midler describes the plot beautifully, pitting the young against the veterans. It's a conflict that audiences like to see. Who's going to win? Or is anybody going to win? Director Anne Fletcher builds on this contrast with visuals throughout the movie. We give each girl not only the same color in the vein of our witches, Becca being Winnie, Izzy being Mary, and Cassie being Sarah, and their hairstyles in a way are similar. It's a modern-day twist on it. What other similarities did you notice between the 6 of them? Number 3. We have some special guests for the musical numbers. There were some stunning drag versions of the witches that got to perform on stage with them. The Drag Race queens, Ginger Minge, Kimora Hall, and Cornbread the Snack Jeté jumped at the opportunity to impersonate the Sanderson sisters. Apparently, the Sanderson sisters are popular characters every Halloween in the drag community.
It would not make sense if there were not a troupe of queens there representing the Sanderson sisters.
The musical number was a great time for both the performers and the 300-person live audience. One of Kathy Najimy's favorite parts of the sequence was that Anne Fletcher let them improv. Anne let us come up with some of our own stuff. At one point, I turn around and see the drag queen playing me, and I guess the line written was about the queen not looking great, and me saying, oh. So I turned around and said something like, hello, beautiful. Number 4. Speaking of the music, another stellar suggestion from the 3 stars. Bette Midler shares, that was our big contribution. We said, they have to sing. We made suggestions as far as songs were concerned, and we went to the barricades on that. There are 2 covers and 2 huge musical numbers. Sarah Jessica Parker said they would have done 3 if the studio let them. The songs were specifically chosen so they would appeal to a wide variety of age groups. Number 5. Another movie that suffered major COVID delays.
You have all these set pieces and all these things you want to do, and then next thing you know, your hair and makeup team has COVID.
Circling back to the music, all of the rehearsals took place during COVID, so Sarah Jessica Parker wasn't even able to attend due to her busy shooting schedule and all of the COVID scheduling delays. She had to learn the dance in a room by herself from a video. Bette Midler shares her experience throughout the rehearsals. We worked hard on them. We had rehearsals during COVID, we went from pillar to post, dancing, singing, and carrying on in masks. Number 6. A major distinction to her iconic look. One thing some fans might notice is that her mouth is on the other side of her face now. The real reason behind this was because it hurts Kathy Najimy to do it on the original side she did 30 years ago. She actually came up with a scene in Hocus Pocus 2 to justify the change. There's a scene at the beginning where Winnie slaps me and my mouth goes to the other side, and then she slaps me again and it goes to the other side and sticks.
Do you want to hit me? Does that cheer you up?
Number 7. The sweetest zombie in all of zombie lore.
Stop! I am a good zombie!
The original actor, Doug Jones, comes back to play his iconic role of Billy in the sequel. Aside from the Sanderson sisters, he's the only other character to return. Not only that, but the prosthetics are done by the same makeup artist, Tony Gardner. Billy also wears the exact same wig from 1993. They had it on a dummy on display for 29 years. They put it back on my head in the same style. It didn't even need a touch-up. The costumes were rebuilt to be the same as the first ones, so I look exactly the same. Number 8. Where have the Sanderson sisters been? And how did they become the way they are?
I really wanted an actual backstory to the Sanderson sisters.
This movie is going to answer those questions. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy also wanted that to be more present in this film. So much so that they pitched a purgatory scene idea. They wanted the audience to know where the sisters had been, but that idea ended up getting cut down the line. What we do get, though, in the opening scene is a look at the Sanderson sisters living in the 1600s.
Happy 16th birthday, child.
Number 9. You'd know their voices anywhere. Did you know that Sarah Jessica Parker, Bette Midler, and Kathy Najimy had a huge amount of say in the way their characters sounded in the sequel? The writers of the movie thought they were the real creators of the Sanderson sisters and their voices, so they sent them the scripts for notes. They sent us story ideas, then Sarah, Bette, and I would have phone meetings with lots of snacks, and we'd talk over narratives and character arcs. Number 10. We owe Bette a huge thank you. It all started when she needed her Winifred costume for an event. She called the studio and asked if she could borrow it, but they weren't able to lend it to her. So, she looked on eBay and saw hundreds and hundreds of Hocus Pocus costumes and memorabilia for sale. When she started realizing how popular the film had become, because it was originally considered to be a flop after it was released in 1993, she started making some calls.
Some legends never die. I love that.
She told Entertainment Weekly, "As I watched it progress, I'd call the studio once a year to ask, how about it?" Once the studio learned that they could release it on a streaming platform, they were all in. Number 11. A one-time only event. To benefit the New York Restoration Project, which works to restore gardens and parks throughout New York's 5 boroughs, the entire Hocus Pocus cast got together for a special reunion hosted by Elvira. It was filmed like a mock documentary about the history of the Sanderson sisters.
Oh, Master! Oh, you've grown so much. Older.
Not only did it feature the original cast, but they were joined by stars like Meryl Streep, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Adam Lambert. The reunion was also available for fans to view if they purchased a ticket. Did you happen to catch it? Let us know in the comments. Number 12. The creators didn't take the reboot of this story lightly.
And the number 1 reason to watch Hocus Pocus 2?
Because the Sanderson sisters will come for you if you don't.
The film only took 3 months to shoot, starting in October 2021 and running through January 2022. But they didn't actually get to wrap there. Though originally shot in the cities of Providence, Lincoln, and Newport, Rhode Island, they ended up heading over to Astoria, Queens to reshoot the ending. 2 test screenings showed that the audience found it to be pretty weak, so they rushed to reshoot it in June 2022. Hocus Pocus 2 brings us classic Sanderson humor.
Winnie, we already drank the life potion.
Billy's wig from 1993, and fresh musical numbers. What's your favorite behind-the-scenes moment?